Hi, I'm Ashley, and I would love to share with you my story, my life, which includes suffering with depression, being suicidal, struggling with anxiety and eating disorder, losing my mother to a life of addiction, being raised in an alcoholic family, and much more. So, if you want to hear more, keep on listening. All right, so I'm going to start from the very beginning. I was an only child, and therefore it was just me, my mom and dad growing up. I was a gymnast, and gymnastics meant everything to me. I can do more clips on just the life of being a gymnast. I tell you, it was a lot. Gymnastics did do some wonderful things for me. The first and the most important thing is it really kept my eyes off of how bad it was at home. Both my parents struggled with addiction, specifically alcoholism, and so when you have two addicts in a home, you're just bound to have a lot of arguments and fights, and it wasn't good. I can go more in depth with that as well in other clips, but it was bad. My dad was in and out of jail a lot of my younger life, and my mother suffered with deep depression. It was so bad. It was so hard to see her in that state of mind. But I had gymnastics, okay? And it really kept me going. And I wanted to go to the Olympics. And I felt all the things that I was going through is what I had to go through to make it to the Olympics. That was like my driving force. That's what I thought. Was I good enough to make it to the Olympics? Heck no, I wasn't even close. But it was just my passion. It was my dream. And like I said, it kept me going. I'm going to fast forward to probably 7th grade, 8th grade, and that's when my parents got a divorce. I was actually very happy about the divorce because the arguments and the fighting were just getting so bad. I ended up living with my dad. My mother, who I loved very much and who loved me, I just couldn't live with her because her addiction was just so very loud. She was having a hard time just even holding down a job, and just it was just really difficult. So I couldn't live with mom. Dad was also drinking at the time, but he was more of a functioning alcoholic. It was difficult at night though, because when that alcohol would kick in, he would definitely turn into a different person, which was really hard. And again, we can go more in depth with that later. I just want to do an overview of my life. And so that was hard. It was hard not having a mom around. Dad was stable during the day for the most part, but at night, his drinking was just, it was out of control. And so but I had gymnastics, okay? So that's what kept me going. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward to my junior year of high school. And that's when my dad got deployed. So my dad was in the military, and he was only deployed about 3 hours away from where we lived, but 3 hours is enough for him to be gone on a consistent basis. And so I pretty much started living by myself my junior year of high school. And that is when my world crashed. Gymnastics was 30 minutes away from where I lived, where at least where I trained was 30 minutes away, and it left my life, and I was devastated. My mom said she would take me to practice, but her drinking was so bad she wouldn't pick me up, and that one thing I had, that outlet that I had, just left my life. And I did not know what to do. The depression was so bad. I'll have to do some other clips on like showing you my journals from being younger and just the pain. I mean, you can just see the pain in these journal entries, and it would hurt to breathe. I mean, it would physically hurt to breathe, and I could feel my soul. I could just feel it sinking within me, and I wanted to die. I was so depressed. I remember just weeping in my pillow. I just want to die. I just want to die. And my hair was falling out. I had bald spots like here and here. Because the anxiety was so bad. I was self-harming. It was just a mess. I lived in that state of mind for probably a year. And so when I was a senior in high school, I did end up going into a psych ward. It wasn't good. It wasn't, we can go more in depth later, but it was just very dark. It was not a place where I wanted to be, and so I pretty much lied to get out of the hospital. So I'm on my way home, and I knew of God. I knew of Jesus. I technically accepted Jesus in my heart, which we could talk more on and what that really means, but I technically had Jesus like in my heart, and I believed in him like as a child, even in 8th grade. Like I really was like, I am going to believe in Jesus and all of that. But pretty much as a kid and all the way up until the age of 17, 18, Jesus was just kind of like back here. Like I knew he was there, but he was never like the forefront of my life until that day on the way home from the hospital. And I rededicated my life to Jesus. I was like, okay, God, if you are this God who transforms lives, and you need to come into mine, because I do not know how to do this. And that was really the beginning of the rest of my life. That depression and the suicide and the eating disorder, they all lifted, but it was as if they lifted like an onion layer. The first thing to probably leave was being suicidal, but that still took 2 or 3 years. And then the depression left, and then the anxiety left, and then finally, probably around the age of 25, that is when the eating disorder finally left. I did go inpatient for my eating disorder, but as you can hear from my story, it was like a 7-8 year process for me to really get free of everything. But I can boldly and confidently stand here or sit here today and tell you like I've overcome everything that I just mentioned, and it was all because of Jesus. Like it really was. And being rooted in who he says I am, and relying on the truth, and like understanding spiritual warfare and all of these things. And some of this terminology might be really new for you, and that's why I want to do this YouTube channel, is to go in depth with really how to overcome all the things that I overcame. I am 33 now. I am happily married. My mother did pass away at the age of, when I was 30, she passed away. So it was about 3 years ago now that my mom passed. That was very difficult. And then it was just a year ago that my dad was diagnosed with cancer. That was really hard. As you know, I'm the only child. My mom's passed away. So going through chemo and radiation and really being the only one at the hospital with my dad got really heavy and got really burdensome at times, because I just so wished I had a family that brought up family stuff, and it was just like, whoa. But Dad is doing very well, and he actually became a Christian about 5 years ago. He is sober, and so that's a little update on my dad. But I want to go so much more in depth with you guys on just my story and how I overcame. So just check out my videos. Please ask me anything you want. If you want me to go in depth with anything, I would love to. Please subscribe to this channel and just continue checking me out. And I will just be talking to you guys later. Okay, bye.